Chapter 314. The Word Love, Telepathic Rescue, TL by Bagelson. According to the sequence, the first 7 of these 8 sea-god inheritance tests were very likely to see whether he could break free from these 7 emotions. Yes, that was definitely it. Thinking of this, Tang San suddenly had an epiphany. The sharp pain from the blue-silver emperor right leg bone starting to be removed couldn't disturb his clarity either. If the sea-god could sense the changes in Tang San's heart right now, he would definitely be enormously gratified, because if the sea-god's heart was here, its instructions to Tang San would be these 7 emotional tests. Originally, the sea-god's inheritance should be testing the 6 desires, 1, corresponding to the spirit master's 6 spirit bones. But Tang San was an exception with the external spirit bone 8 spider lancers, and with 7 spirit bones the 6 desires turned to 7 emotions. People had 7 emotions and 6 desires. This was the basics of human nature, unavoidable. Nobody was an exception. The difficulty of such a test was obvious. Passing while the sea-god energy disturbed one's thoughts was extremely difficult even when forewarned, let alone when Tang San directly entered the tests without any warning. The difficulty left practically no chance of passing. However, when including the backdoor provided by the sea-god as well as some luck, after having comprehended the challenge in the sea-god inheritance, to baffle Tang San, whose sea-god affinity had risen to 115% through passing 8 sea-god trials, wasn't very likely. Tang San didn't disappoint anyone. Starting from the 3rd test, his progress suddenly grew smooth. The 3rd trial tested the word grief, removing Tang San's blue-silver emperor right leg bone. What appeared was an illusory scene, and this scene portrayed how Tang San's mother Yin chose to sacrifice herself to save Tang Hao, and Tang San could easily save his mother in the illusion by just lifting a finger. It was extremely easy to get lost in that grief-filled atmosphere. But with the experience of the 2 previous trials, no matter what happened in the illusion, Tang San maintained clarity, guarding his mind. What gave him even more of a surprise was that his purple demon eye's illusion-breaking effect was effective even here. After all, the purple demon eye wasn't a power of this world. Even though the illusion was extremely powerful, Tang San could still endure, easily passing. And the blue-silver emperor right leg bone also transformed into a blue-silver grass of the most common variety, calmly staying on the 3rd little platform under a golden halo of light. The 4th test came next, stripping Tang San's left leg bone, again producing an illusion. This time the focus of the illusion was changed to Xiaowu, showing Xiaowu just after she sacrificed herself for Tang San, with her soul on the verge of fading, causing Tang San intense fear. With the experience and comprehension of the previous 3 tests, Tang San's heart was like iron, forcing down the feelings influenced by the sea god. Passing once more, the evil spirit augur left leg bone transformed into an enormous orca figure, cruising around on the 4th platform. At this point, Tang San had already passed 4 of the 8 total sea god inheritance tests, and as he passed this 4th one, Tang San immediately felt his body start to change. The originally golden bones, muscles and veins began to gradually flush, becoming the pure golden color Chen had when she attacked with her full strength. In passing the baptism of the 4 emotions, at the same time as the sea god's power influenced Tang San's mind, it also imperceptibly transformed his body. Simultaneously, the sea god's divinity was assimilated into him, drop by drop. At this point, there were still 3 spirit bones that hadn't been stripped, and Tang San knew that these spirit bones were also the most crucial. The 8 spider lancers had reached god level. It was part of him and could even think of alerting him. The sky blue bull python right arm bone had Deming's soul that would warn him. The blue silver emperor right leg bone was left him by his mother and was filled with love. It naturally wouldn't cause any problems, even though the evil spirit augur left leg bone came from the 100,000-year evil spirit augur king. As a left leg bone, it wasn't that important to begin with, and Tang San could also completely suppress the influence it had on him even after being stripped. As a result, these first 4 tests were relatively easily passed. Of course, this was still on the condition that Tang San was able to quickly figure out the true theme of the sea god inheritance, making it this easy. But the remaining 4 tests would be much more difficulty. First, putting aside restoring the sea god trident. Just the remaining 3 emotions weren't that simple. First of all, Tang San's torso spirit bone was looted from the million-year deep-sea demon whale king, and without a doubt, the deep-sea demon whale king hated him to the death. Even its corpse had been desecrated. When Tang San took his test, not only wouldn't the deep-sea demon whale king help him get rid of the confusion, its soul within his spirit bone might even try to help the sea god's divine power to confuse him. This was also the most important spirit bone, and the difficulty was naturally the greatest. Even less had to be said about the mind-condensing wisdom skull bone, as the spirit bone around the brain. It would doubtless cause Tang San the most violent pain, and this spirit bone had moreover fused with a portion of the sea god's heart energy. Tang San had no idea whatsoever what would happen when he took the test. Finally, there was moreover the Titan giant ape left arm bone that shouldn't have been a problem. As a left arm bone, it was ranked last of all the spirit bones, and moreover came from the Titan giant ape Ming, and with their relationship, Ming absolutely wouldn't hold him back. But the crucial part was that this left arm spirit bone hid the Asura god's divine power. Tang San could be near certain that removing this spirit bone from his body would be severely difficult, even if the Asura god's power had already been suppressed to within his clear sky hammer. The facts proved Tang San right. The spirit bone stripped in the 5th test was his skull spirit bone, the mind-condensing wisdom skull bone. Starting from almost the instant the spirit bone removal began, Tang San's mind turned blank white, not from pain, but like when the sea god brought him here, basically uncontrollable. Nothing could be felt in his mental world. A faint red color began to emerge in this blank white world, slowly condensing, forming a giant heart shape before him. Tang San's body then also appeared in this world. Tang San wanted to use his purple demon eye to break the illusion, but it didn't work. Not a bit of energy could be transferred. In this world of consciousness, he had become like an ordinary person. Just then, the surrounding scenery suddenly changed. The pale world produced countless colors: a great green forest, a clear little lake, insect cries and birdsong echoing, air so fresh and clean one couldn't help breathe deeply. In this beautiful picture, sitting upright on a large rock on the shore was a young woman in white, long black hair hanging all the way down into the water. She held a tiny wooden comb, slowly combing her hair. Seeing this, Tang San was stunned. Xiao Wu, yes. Even without seeing her face, Tang San still knew that this was his Xiao Wu. He now stood only 2 meters away from Xiao Wu. Suddenly, she tilted her head, beautifully pulling her hair behind her, exposing her flawless features, looking at Tang San with a sweet smile. Gee, did you know? Know what? Tang San asked subconsciously. Xiao Wu's eyes revealed happiness. Mom said that a girl can only let one man comb her hair in her whole life. Do you want to help me? I do. I do. Of course I do. Tang San answered impatiently. Powerful love instantly filled his heart, leaving nothing else behind. To comb Xiao Wu's hair, to live happy days together with her. That was Tang San's most cherished wish. Xiao Wu blushed, making her touching appearance even more gorgeous. Shyly raising her hand with the comb, she didn't dare look at Tang San, speaking softly. Here. Raising his hand, Tang San wanted to take that comb, but his hand stopped in midair. This is an illusion. Everything I see is an illusion. How could I be with Xiao Wu at the Stardow Great Forest Lake? Even though this was a mental world, if he took one step forward to take the comb, then that would very likely mean taking this step in reality as well, leaving the center of the platform. If Tang San could use any spirit ability now, he would have held the wooden comb, but in this mental world he could basically do nothing. But even so, Tang San's heart was still filled with love for Xiao Wu. Among his 7 emotions, the most difficult to control was love. In his heart, this word was the weakest part. It might be called his greatest weakness. Even fully aware that all this was an illusion, Tang San was still unable to firmly reject Xiao Wu. He could only foolishly look at her, motionless. After a long time, Xiao Wu softly raised her head, looking towards him. Her eyes had become a bit dull, sparkling teardrops spinning. She didn't look straight at Tang San, only at that tiny wooden comb she was holding out. Her voice trembled with choked emotion. Gee, don't you want to comb my hair? No, I do. I want to. Intense love broke through reason, and Tang San shouted emotionally. How could he have the heart to see his Xiao Wu sad? Even if it was an illusion of Xiao Wu, he still couldn't refuse. Sea God Island, Sea God Mountain, Sea God Palace, Sea God Douluo Sexy had sacrificed her life to open the gate to Tang San's inheritance. The Shrek 6 devils had all seen it. They were swallowed by golden light, and could clearly feel the rich energy constantly rushing from that gate, saturating their bodies through the platforms where they stood. And at the same time, their mental power was also joined as one, connected together with the light from that pure golden flame, becoming a guarantee to ensure the gate stayed open. The Sea God Temple wasn't like the Angel Temple with doors specially for coming and going. Chen Dailu's sacrifice was also different from both Sexy's. Chen Dailu only sacrificed himself to open the gate for Chen Rinchu. As long as as she completed the inheritance of the god of angels, she could naturally open the gate and return under her own power. But Forsake not only had to open the gate to the place of inheritance, she simultaneously used her power to create the gate. If the gate closed, then even if Tang San became the sea god, he would never be able to return to the human world, and could only remain at the place of inheritance. As a result, at times of the sea god inheritance, 6 people were needed to maintain the gate. With the sea god's original arrangement, this should be the 7 sacred pillar guardian Douluo, but Forsake knew that the Shrek 6 devils were as one with Tang San, and had also passed at least the black level sea god trials. Even if their strength was a bit weaker, their mental strength wasn't inferior to the 7 sacred sea god pillar guardian Douluo. Having them stand guard was even more effective. Starting from when Tang San entered the inheritance round, the Shrek 6 devils could see what he was doing. Their field of view also followed Tang San into that inheritance round, and they could even see the changes in Tang San's mind. This was one of the benefits to maintaining the gate to the inheritance round like this. To see the inheritance of divinity would naturally be the greatest benefit to their futures. They saw Tang San cut his way into the sea god temple hall, and also saw the true sea god. Of course, along with the start of Tang San's tests, their field of view also entered that golden world instead of seeing the 2 gods squabble in the hole. When Tang San met the first trial, everyone felt cold sweat for him, but as Tang San figured out the key and passed 4 in succession, everyone also gradually relaxed. The only one who was still nervous was Xiao Wu, not because she worried about Tang San, but rather because Deming's warning to Tang San had made her emotional, and so her mind remained tense. Right now their field of view was inside the mental illusion with Tang San, and they could also completely see and hear his dialogue with Xiao Wu. To Dai Bai, Oscar and the others, it seemed like this illusion should be a cinch for Tang San. He had easily passed the tests before, so how could he not tell that all this wasn't real, and that this Xiao Wu was just an illusion? As Tang San shouted, besides Xiao Wu, Dai Bai, Oscar, Ma Hongjian, Ning Rongrong, and Zhu Zuqing all couldn't help being dumbfounded. They could never have expected that the highly intelligent Tang San would unexpectedly be impulsive now, unable to pass the 5th of the 7 emotions. Only Xiao Wu truly understood Tang San's heart right now. He doesn't want to refuse me, even if it was fake. The contents of the illusion was still completely true. Even the source of the comb was true. Influenced by the sea god's divine power, Tang San's heart was completely filled with love, and his reason was finally broken by the emotional rush. The one word love made him completely forget he was undergoing the sea god inheritance. Faced with such a scene, even completely wrapped up in that intense golden light and unable to move, Xiao Wu shouted with all her strength, "Ge, that's not me, that's not me." Xiao Wu's voice echoed in the sea god palace, and also roused the sluggish Shrek 5 devils. But they all knew that Xiao Wu's voice couldn't reach that world. Xiao Wu wailing until her voice was hoarse made their hearts sing as well. If he couldn't pass the sea god inheritance, Little San was finished. But the solution usually wasn't absolute. Just as they thought Tang San really was finished, in the illusion he suddenly stopped a moment before moving forward, lowering his head, looking somewhat incredulously at this right hand. The intense love in Tang San's eyes didn't disappear, but his gaze turned somewhere else. Yes, he had heard Xiao Wu's voice, even if he only heard a faint whisper in the depths of his heart, and only heard 3 words, "That's not me." But this was enough. Xiao Wu's shout saved Tang San. He had heard her voice. Yes. No matter how alike the illusion is, she's not my Xiao Wu. I can only comb Xiao Wu's hair, not hers. Boom. The entire illusion collapsed with a loud rumble. As Tang San returned to the golden sea god inheritance world, he immediately saw a golden blue skull appear in front of him, containing a vague light, exactly the same as the light of the sea god's heart. Even Tang San didn't know that the reason he could hear Xiao Wu's voice wasn't because Xiao Wu was shouting so forcefully, but rather because of the telepathic link between them. Telepathy really did exist, such as between twins, between old couples, between close family like father and son, all had the possibility for telepathy. And the link between Tang San and Xiao Wu was naturally because Xiao Wu sacrificed herself for him. Even though Tang San had already returned Xiao Wu's spirit bone and ring to her, in some sense, the two had once truly been merged together. Under such circumstances, Xiao Wu's and Tang San's souls had formed an imperceptible bridge. With Tang San's life in danger and Xiao Wu shouting herself hoarse, this bridge had passed on that tiny voice, and even though it was only for a split second, even though they were in different worlds, it had still roused Tang San, letting him break free of the 5th of the 7 emotions, most likely to cause weakness, the word love. Tang San gasped for large mouthfuls of air, the spirit power circulating irregularly at high speed within him. Looking at his right arm, recalling the faint whisper of Xiao Wu's voice just now, his heart warmed. Even though he had been tortured by the pain of spirit bone removal, and faced constant mental trials, Xiao Wu's voice still made Tang San's mental strength condense to an unprecedented degree. Also, along with breaking through this 5th test, a faint golden blue color appeared on the surface of Tang San's skin, and his exhausted strength recovered slightly. The sea god inheritance didn't stop. After the 5th platform flew back to its original spot with that golden blue crystalline skull, the 6th platform was already flying out. This time, that spirit bone's dripping hand grew enormous, the golden hand directly appearing 1 meter in front of Tang San, then suddenly made a grabbing motion. It was this seemingly simple motion that made Tang San feel as if his soul was being ripped out. Unprecedented pain filling every nerve of his whole body in a split second. Without a doubt, the torso spirit bone was the largest of all spirit bones, and also the most important of the 6 standard spirit bones. Stripping it would naturally cause incomparable pain. Every bone and muscle of his entire body seemed to be twisted together. Tang San was basically unable to contend with that enormous divine power, because of the torso spirit bone being removed. The violent squeezing and pulling made blood flow from every opening in Tang San's head, flowing down like 7 little snakes. Only, Tang San's originally already golden blood, there was now a faint blue dye. From the initial gold, to pure gold, and then reaching the present golden blue, the power of the sea god's divinity was imperceptibly entering Tang San. Of course, in order to complete the inheritance, he first had to outlast this pain. Splash, Tang San's blood spurted out, his vision turning fuzzy. Even with his powerful physical resistance and superlative willpower, even he was somewhat unable to bear pain of such intensity. Because of the pain, he felt as if his brain was exploding. No, he absolutely couldn't give up here. Tang San seemed to see the deep-sea demon whale king sneer, and also seemed to see Xiao Wu's anxiety. Clenching his teeth, facing the pulling force in front of him, he really was a bit different. No matter how his muscles were twisted, no matter how intense the pain, he still clenched his teeth and endured. His teeth were already biting into his lips, the fingernails of both hands digging into the flesh of his palms. Both his legs stuck to the ground. Because of the pain and exertion, even his god-level bones couldn't quite endure. Of his 10 toes, besides the relatively thick and sturdy big toes, the remaining 8 were already completely crushed. But even so, they still dug sharply into the ground, unexpectedly forcefully digging out a few depressions in the incredibly solid sea god inheritance platform. Purple bone gradually appeared from Tang San's chest, even though that was a spirit bone, and should strictly speaking be condensed from energy. It felt as if part of his chest was being removed. Moreover, seeing it personally also involved a visual attack. The violent pain made Tang San involuntarily howl sharply, his tightly clenched fists suddenly pounding his hips, raising his head, long hair fluttering behind him, mixed sweat and blood scattering in the air. And with that howl, the largest torso spirit bone was finally ripped from Tang San's body. He had never even used the abilities it gave him. The torso spirit bone seemingly formed from the spine and the ribs, entirely purple, landed on the 6th platform that flew in front of Tang San. The deep-sea demon whale king's figure appeared behind the bone. An intense hatred suddenly emerged from Tang San's heart, and the deep-sea demon whale king's silhouette behind the torso spirit bone suddenly turned real. Suddenly leaping backward, he directly plunged into that golden sea. Malevolent laughter echoed. Tang San, I really have to thank you. You finally brought me to this inheritance round. The last step I couldn't take over so many years can finally be completed. Leave this sea god inheritance round to me. While speaking, the deep-sea demon whale king's body in the golden sea suddenly transformed, becoming the human shape that Tang San once faced. Waving both hands, an enormous purple whirlpool appeared in front of him, and the 6 platforms with the spirit bones Tang San had already removed flew over, circling around the deep-sea demon whale king. Even the 2 platforms that had yet to absorb Tang San's spirit bones showed signs of rocking. How? Tang San was stunned. He could clearly sense that the deep-sea demon whale king really was soul power, and moreover, his expression was also exactly the same, and the sea god presence around him also instantly disappeared. Even the golden blue color of his skin quickly faded, and an equal golden blue color began to gradually appear on the deep-sea demon whale king's body. No, impossible. After all the trials and hardship, having finally walked this far, how could he let the deep-sea demon whale king get away with it? Intense hatred filled Tang San's heart. Waving his right hand, he grabbed the sea god trident floating vertically next to him. Pointing the dark trident forward, Tang San roared, "Deep-sea demon whale king, you actually didn't die?" The deep-sea demon whale king grinned, the purple whirlpool between his hands growing larger and larger. Those two empty platforms began to slowly fly towards him. Who said I didn't die? Who said I didn't die? That's right, I really am dead. But you underestimate the soul power I saved up over 1,000,000 years. Even drawn into the spirit bone, my soul still wouldn't perish. I've been waiting for this chance. I didn't expect it really would come. Ha 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 ha. I have to thank this sea god inheritance as well. Now this inheritance ground is mine. Kid, thank you for bringing me here. I'll leave your corpse intact once I've become god and remade my body. Facing the deep sea demon whale king's naked provocation, Tang San suddenly smiled, slowly putting the sea god trident aside to once again stand next to him. Speaking slowly, no need to act. As far as I'm concerned, this is useless. We speak of joy, anger, we speak of grief, fear, love, hate, desire. These are the 7 emotions. Your 6th test is the word hate. The sea god's divine power makes it feel real, and it's also a situation that really might happen, so it makes it seem even more real. And with the direct influence on my emotions, it really is easily to get fooled. Unfortunately, the word hatred isn't my weakness. It's impossible even if your soul cooperates with the sea god's power to stop my inheritance. Deep sea demon whale king, having passed the test of love, what do I have to fear? All this is just an illusion. Let alone it being impossible for your soul to break free of the spirit bone again. Even if you could, do you believe this world, filled with the sea god's divine power, in the middle of my inheritance, would allow your disruption? If your soul really could leave the spirit bone, it would only lead to your destruction. Listening to Tang San, the deep sea demon whale king's expression suddenly changed. The golden ocean below him suddenly rushed up, an enormous golden trident suddenly emerging from the water, instantly piercing the body formed of soul power. An incredibly dignified voice resounded in the entire golden world, attempting to ruin the successor, kill without pardon, soul stripping. No, the deep-sea demon whale king howled with alarm, but in this sea god inheritance world, what use was his soul power, no matter how strong? In a moment his body was shattered to fragments, turning into purple streams of light that blended into the spirit bone stripped from Tang San. That torso spirit bone also subsequently transformed into a madly roaming purple dragon, fluttering above the little platform, gradually calming down after a long while, just like a right arm bone that turned into the azure dragon. It floated above the platform. Seeing this, Tang San was distracted. A cold chill rushed down his spine, because he suddenly realized that everything just now wasn't the illusion he expected, but was entirely real. That deep-sea demon whale king was really his soul condensed. Otherwise, there wouldn't be the scene of his soul shattering, but instead the entire illusion should have collapsed along with him revealing the truth. The deep-sea demon whale king, actually really wasn't completely killed. His soul actually still hid in the spirit bone, waiting for a chance. What a 1,000,000-year spirit beast. What a 1,000,000-year spirit beast. So powerful. Tang San couldn't keep his mind from swaying somewhat from the lingering fear. He knew that if he hadn't abandoned the feeling of hatred just then, maybe everything would have become real, and the deep-sea demon whale king really could have replaced him to inherit the sea god's divinity. When the torso spirit bone was stripped before, the violent pain he had to bear might also have had some element of the deep-sea demon whale king's tampering. The more exhausted his mind was, the greater his chance of success. The 6 platforms again flew back to surround Tang San, and the 7th spirit bone stripping pain arrived. This last stripping was naturally that of Tang San's left arm spirit bone. Against Tang San's expectations, his left arm spirit bone really didn't cause any change, almost the same as the pain he suffered when his right arm spirit bone was removed, much lighter than with the torso spirit bone. The spirit bone was smoothly removed and floated towards the 7th platform. Light flashed, and all the surroundings suddenly became illusory. A new illusion appeared in front of Tang San, and he was shocked to discover that he had already appeared in an illusory night sky. Stars speckled the sky, as if revealing the secrets of the universe to him. A golden platform appeared in front of Tang San, and in the center of that platform floated a woman radiating intense golden light. But her face revealed an extremely painful expression, with faintly discernible golden armor, and 6 golden wings slowly appearing on her back. Her expression was twisted. She was very clearly suffering incredible pain. But even with the twisted expression, Tang San still recognized her at a glance. In the illusion, appeared the god of angels successor Chen Renshu. Tang San's consciousness cut through the night sky like a shooting star, directly knocking against Chen Renshu's body. Before he could react, light flashed, and his consciousness was pulled into her head. When everything became clear, another scene appeared in front of Tang San. This was a vast empty space. First of all, Tang San saw Chen Renshu. What left Tang San shocked was that she was now completely naked. That golden skin seemed so enticing, her perfect body without the slightest flaw. Only, her gaze was a bit lifeless, looking sluggishly ahead. Following along Chen Renshu's gaze, Tang San's heart shook again. He saw a young man, blue hair draped across his back, blue eyes brimming with the light of deep wisdom as if they could pierce everything, a tall and slender graceful figure, a harp floating silently in front of him. He slowly raised his hands, his slender fingers caressing the strings, the delicate sound filling this empty space. And Chen Renshu also walked toward him, step by step, her voice choked with emotion. Tang San, why would it be you? Yes. Wasn't that young man him? But why would he appear here? What was going on here? 1. 6 desires. Desires of the senses varies, but generally described as desires related to seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, or with touch and thought replaced by life and death, the latter referring to survival, or in Buddhism, the 6 desires of lust. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.